Okay, this one asks us to expand. So because x, oh my gosh. Because x and y is x times y, multiplication means the same thing as addition. So we get ln of x plus the ln of y. Okay, this one asks us to expand this one. So we've got a bunch of multiplication, we've got exponents, and then we've got division. So this is going to be log base 4 of 3 plus, the 2 goes out in front, 2 log base 4 of x plus, the 6 goes out in front, so 6 log base 4 of y, and then division means subtraction, so 2 log 4 of z. So in this problem, we want to get to that x squared plus 2x. We need to get rid of this log base 2. So to get rid of that log base 2, we need to take base 2 to both sides. That will cancel the log, so we get x squared plus 2x. And then this side is 2 to the third, so that's 8. And then remember what I told you about quadratics. Anytime there's quadratics in this log section, we're going to be able to factor it. So we get x squared plus 2x minus 8 equals 0. And then we factor that thing, so we get x plus 4 and x minus 2 equals 0. And then I set them both equal to 0, and I end up with negative 4 and positive 2. And then we have to check for extraneous solutions. So if I plug negative 4 back in there, negative 4 squared is 16. And 16 plus 2 times 4 is negative 8. That's positive, so that's okay. Then I plug in the 2. 2 squared is 4, plus 2 times 2 is 4. That's positive, so that's okay. So they are both solutions to the equation. Okay, let's change this problem and make that 2x in order for this to make sense. And now we want to get to that 2x. So the first thing we need to do before we can get rid of the log is we've got to get rid of everything around the log. So we have to add 3 to both sides first. And get 8, and then divide by 2. So we end up with log 3 of 2x equals 4. And I have to get rid of this log base 3, so I need to base 3 to both sides, and that cancels the log 3. So I get 2x equals 3 to the 4th power, which is 81. And then divide both sides by 2, and we get 81 over 2. So remember that we have to get rid of everything around the log before we can take the base of that log to get rid of it. So we got 6 to the something power equals 216. So that something power has to be 3. Okay, so on this one, we obviously aren't going to get a whole number, right? We've got 5 to the x power equals 12. I have no idea what that is, so I have to figure it out a different way, right? And the only other way that we can calculate it is if they already give us some information. So if they gave us what log 5 of 3 was and what log 5 of 4 was, I can calculate what it is, but they didn't give me that either. So the only other way that we know how to calculate that log is to change the base. Right? And we can change it either to log base 10 or ln. Either way, we have those buttons on our calculator. So we need to change the base, right? The number 12 goes on top, and the number 5 goes on the bottom. And then we have to plug that into our calculator. And you get something like 1.544. So you get 1.544. Remember that this is the change of base formula. Did it again. These are supposed to be equal to. So because they give us log 3 and they give us log 6, right, we need to break this thing down. So that's log of 18, which is log 3 times log 6. And multiplication means addition. So log 3 plus log 6, and then we plug in these numbers. And technically, yes, I could just plug this into my calculator, but on the test tomorrow, you're not going to be able to. There's a reason why they gave you these right here. Right? So that's 0.477 plus 0.778. And when you add that together, you get 1.255. Okay, so we change the base of this one, we get log 12 divided by log 3, or ln 12 divided by ln 3. And when we plug that into our calculator, we get 2.262. 2.262. Okay, this problem is asking us to write a table. It's not asking us to graph it or give any kind of domain and range, so all we need is the table. So negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. So if I plug in negative 2, I get 2, and then negative, negative 2, right, minus 1. Yeah, a negative and negative 2, that makes it positive, so 2 squared is 4, and 4 minus 1 is 3. Similarly with the negative 1, right, 2 to the negative, negative 1, that makes it positive, so we get 2 minus 1, which is 1. And then 2 to the 0 is 1 minus 1, so that's 0. And 2 to the negative 1 minus 1 is 1/2 minus 1, which is negative 1/2. And then 2 to the negative 2 minus 1, that's 1/4, and 1/4 minus 1 is negative 3/4. Okay, there's two ways we can solve this without your calculator. You need to understand both. So the first way would be to use our rules that we have, which says that division means subtraction. So log base 3 of 3 minus log base 3 of 27. Then we have to evaluate each one of those to come up with an answer. So log base 3 of 3, that means 3 to the something power gives me 3, and that's 1. So this is 1. And then this one says 3 to the something power gives me 27, and that's 3. And then 1 minus 3 is negative 2. The other way to do it without a calculator is to reduce this thing first. 3 over 27 is the same thing as 1/9. And then we can use the definition to figure out what it's equal to. 3 to the x is 1/9, and that's got to be negative 2. Both ways you still get the same answer. Okay, this is another way, or another question where you can answer it or solve it two different ways. So the first way would be to use the definition. The definition says 5 to that negative third power equals x. So x has got to be 1 over 125. The other way would be to try to get rid of that log. So we have log 5 of x equals negative 3. So to get rid of that log, we've got to take base 5 to both sides. Right, that's going to cancel the log, and we're left with x. And still 5 to the negative 3 power, which is still 125. So regardless of which way you do it, you still come up with the same answer. Okay. So 3 to the x equals 11. So to get to that x, I've got to get rid of this 3. So to get rid of that 3, I need log base 3 to both sides. Because that will cancel, and I'll be left with x. And then to calculate this, we got to change the base. So we need log 11 over log 3. And then you plug that into a calculator and you get, what? 2.183? That sounds about right. Okay, so we want to condense them all together. Remember that we only need one log. Please don't write a bunch of logs next time on the test tomorrow. So each one of the coefficients becomes exponents, so we get 4 to the 1/3. Subtraction means division, so that's y squared. And then addition means multiplication, so x to the 3rd.